Welcome to How to Align with Your Soul Purpose. Tonight, we are going to talk about how you can take some simple actions to get clear on your soul purpose and craft a more clear message. Tonight, we are going to talk about how to align with your soul purpose without sacrificing your creative integrity. So first and foremost, thank you for showing up and participating in this webinar. Our purpose is to remember who we are, embrace our sacredness, and rise up to embody our truth. So this quote is by Rebecca Campbell, who is she creates oracle decks. You may or may not be familiar with her. And I wanted to share this quote with you because I feel like it resonates with the purpose of this webinar to always remember, first and foremost, your authentic self, to come into contact with your authentic self and to remember who you are, to remember that you are source, divinity, you are a living, breathing, sacred soul. And by becoming more clear in your message, you will embody your truth and your messages will have more impact. So why you're here today? So you're a mystic, a visionary, a storyteller, a light worker, or maybe even an artist, and you want to make positive impact, sharing your wisdom, gifts, and insights to inspire and uplift those around you. And you feel a deep-seated desire to step out and share your gifts with the world. You may or may not know what that looks like. It just may be a calling, or you may know what it looks like and needing to come into more clarity surrounding your message and what it is that you're putting forth. Tonight's webinar will help you come up with some simple tasks to help you gain more clarity. So let's make your dream to express your authentic voice a reality. So who I am, I'm Sequoia Raven Moon. I'm a spiritual guide, a life coach, a wisdom teacher that helps spiritually aligned entrepreneurs integrate their inner purpose with their outer expression, empowering them to create meaningful impact. So I am someone who had jobs, many different jobs that were not fulfilling to me. I felt like there had to be more to what I was doing. They were easy. I was making decent money. However, it was unfulfilling. I made a commitment to find something that I love doing. And in that process, I became nomadic. I moved into a bus. I was without a home for just about a year because I was not sure what that looked like. I thought it was going to be a yoga teacher, then I thought it was going to be a massage therapist, and ultimately what it became was something that I had no idea even existed. Not only did I not know it existed, when I learned that it existed, it was the furthest from my reality that it was possible to make a career of it and that it would support me for 20 years and beyond at that point. So from job to nomad to entrepreneur. Through that process, I had to overcome my fears and step into a greater expression of myself, overcome my shyness, my fear of fire, my fear of public speaking, to come into fabulous, to become a wonderful performer and a leader of a performing company. In addition, I had to move from the chaos, the distraction, through the clutter into more clarity. I had to learn to funnel it all in to more consistency, more clarity, and more organization. That is a little bit about my story and who I am. So from living in a van to world-class fire performer running a successful fire dance performance company for 2 decades and still going. That is my journey. And I like to share this journey with people because I didn't even know that fire dancing was a thing. It was the furthest from my reality, like I said. Not only that, but I was afraid of fire. I was shy. Being in front of an audience or speaking in front of a group of people was not something that I was comfortable with. I am inherently a performer, but I was a performer in hiding. I was too afraid to get up and express myself in that way. Even just doing a webinar like this is a huge advancement for me, because this is not something that I would have ever have foreseen myself having done. It just was the furthest from my reality. So if I can do it, you can do it, definitely. And even the most obscure hobbies, ideas, or callings can be turned into a supportive endeavor that can sustain your life in a pleasing, fulfilling way. So my why, my mission is to help spiritually aligned entrepreneurs move beyond limiting core beliefs and craft crystal clear messages for greater impact. I want to help people. Rephrase. My intention is to help people have more impact. To have more impact requires more clarity. And this is an ongoing struggle that I overcome, that I'm a creative mind, lots of ideas, and I tend to create a lot of different, what seem like threads going in different directions. And even this webinar, I'll just use this as an example. You may have noticed that the webinar originally said how to establish healthy boundaries. And when I sat down to create the webinar, I realized that I had put that title on it. However, the entire content of the webinar was more about crafting a message and than it was about establishing healthy boundaries. And I realized that in order to get to establishing the healthy boundaries required some clearing out. It required some simple steps to come into alignment so that we understand and know what boundaries need to be set. So I decided to redraft the webinar and make it more about the coming into clarity and crafting that simple message and coming into alignment with soul purpose first before the healthy boundaries can be set. Not only that, however, in an indirect way, I also feel that when we come into our purpose and we're in alignment, naturally, we start creating more healthy boundaries because we see what is not in alignment. We see what is bumping up against our purpose, and therefore we're able to start moving in a direction of what we're called towards. Therefore, we inevitably have the courage, the clarity, and the determination to set those healthy boundaries. So this is still about setting healthy boundaries. It's just that is the outcome of getting clear and coming into alignment. So who is this for? This is for you if you're ready to magnify your influence and harmonize your purpose with your business for greater impact. You're ready to live life authentically, embracing your unique path while manifesting abundance and making a meaningful impact along the way. And you're eager to amplify your influence and transform more lives. It is not for you if you're not ready to embrace change and transformation. It does call on you to make changes, to set those boundaries, to do the work, to come into clarity and to identify what is your purpose, what is your mission, what is your message, and what's the simplest way you can express that message. It's also not for you if you're not interested in a spiritual or mystical practices. It's not for you if you're not open to personal growth or self-discovery journeys. So my goal today is to show you how aligning with your soul's purpose can revolutionize your impact and fulfillment as a spiritually aligned entrepreneur, how you can integrate your inner purpose with your outer expression to create meaningful impact. So once you're aligned internally with your purpose, your mission, your core values, then the expression, what you're offering, can also be in alignment with that. And that creates an offer. It creates a product, a message that is in more integrity. Also, so you can finally align your soul's purpose with your entrepreneurial journey, making a profound impact on the world. So what we're covering today, insight number 1, is craft a powerful affirmation based on your core values. Insight 2 is how to harness the power of imagination to manifest goals and desires effectively. And insight number 3 is to cultivate a mindset of abundance and prosperity to attract wealth and success effortlessly. So insight number 1, craft a powerful affirmation that is in alignment with your core values. Let's dive in. So getting into alignment. Alignment is when our beliefs, thoughts, desires, emotions, intentions, words, actions are all in congruency with our core values. It requires us to simplify and get clear. We have to identify what are the core values. We have to look, listen, and pay attention to what beliefs are living within us. We have to notice the thoughts that we're having. We have to be aware of where we're being called and the desires that we're having. And I know emotions isn't on here, but we also have to be tuned into our emotions. And I think desires and emotions can go hand in hand. But we have to pay attention to what the feeling is that we're having. Also, what the intentions are. What are we intending? That's where the purpose and the mission come in. We identify our purpose, our mission, and we set intentions that are in alignment with that purpose and mission. The words we're using, what we're speaking, are we speaking a story of lack, or are we speaking a story of abundance? Are we saying words that hold us back and communicate limiting beliefs while we're asking for something that is going in another direction from that? All of those create misalignments that block us from having a clear message and having the impact that we're seeking. So when we're able to clarify all of those and bring them into alignment, into a cohesive message, into a flowing message, then we're able to have more impact and be clear. So why is this important to you? So by coming into full alignment, you're more clear and focused. It's easier to calibrate if an action or belief is for your highest good or not. When you create an affirmation that is aligned with your core values, you begin to reprogram your limiting beliefs and take actions that move you along in a good way. This aligns your mindset with goals. Many of us have went through the practice of affirmations that are hollow. We say words, I'm worthy. We say, I'm successful. All of the different affirmations that we create, and we say these over and over again, yet they're hollow. They have no impact. They don't do anything for us. We find ourselves still bumping into the same obstacles, making the same missteps, and having the same struggles. And I have found that words alone are just like hot air, right? They're just air. They don't have any, they can have potency to them, but unless our mindset, our beliefs, unless we come into a way of actually believing what we're saying, we are taking actions that are in alignment with those affirmations we're making. We're doing things that confirm the truth of those affirmations. Our intentions are aligned with those affirmations, then they don't have a lot of substance. But when we create affirmations that are in alignment with our core value, and we get all of our desires, thoughts, actions, emotions, and intentions to be operating in alignment with that affirmation, then it begins to have power. It begins to reprogram the brain. We begin to have different results, and we say perhaps fewer words with more impact. We even might work smarter by having to take fewer steps to have more impact. So what can you do? How to take action here? So this would be the steps. First, identify core values, intentions, purpose, mission, and goals. And this is deep work. So like I said, this is scraping the surface. I'm just giving you an overview of how you can come into more alignment. The deeper work would be to sit down and ask yourself, what are your core values? What do you value? You know, when I did this work, it's adventure, it's freedom, it's independence, it's financial independence, it is being in alignment, it's being in integrity. So you want to identify maybe 5 core values that are the most important to you. And the easiest way to do that is to perhaps make a big list of your core values. And if you're unsure what those are, you can Google core values and see lists upon lists of different examples of core values. And then through a process of elimination, you can ask yourself, you know, which one is more important, and you can start to cross things off the list until you come down to maybe around 5 of those core values. In addition, get clear on your intentions. What are you intending to do, create, or experience? Are you intending to build a sustainable career where you're your own boss? Are you intending to have more time? Are you intending to be of greater service? What is your intention? What are you creating? What is your purpose? And many people get really hung up on the purpose. What is my purpose? Like it's some vast unknown idea that's looming out there. And I suggest not getting too hung up on the purpose part. Just create one. You can adjust it later. I have reworked my purpose over time. The more that time goes on, I get more and more clear on my purpose. However, start with something. My purpose is to create offerings using my gifts and talents. My purpose is to live in alignment. My purpose is to speak my truth. My purpose is to be of greater service. Keep it simple. It can be vast. You can funnel it in later. And if you're not sure what it is, start with what is most meaningful to you. Look to those core values, look to the intention that you're setting, and then write a simple purpose statement, one sentence that's easy to remember and easy to say, that would be the best current representation of your purpose. Same thing with your mission. Your mission is, of course, the mission that you came here to do. And again, you don't want to get too hung up on, I don't know my mission. I don't remember what my mission is. That will become more clear the more that you become more clear in your message. So look to your core values, look to your intentions, look to your purpose, and look to what you're desiring, what you're wanting to create, the direction you're headed in your life, and write a simple mission statement. Also identify some goals. It's good to have a big picture goal. The big picture goal is that big, vast goal that seems impossible to reach. It's one that is daunting and overwhelming, and you have no idea how you're going to get there. You know, for instance, I might want to build a sustainable eco retreat, and it's going to take all these resources, all this knowledge, a whole team of people, and an immense amount of funding in order to make it happen. However, I can be sitting with no team, with not enough funding, with needing to clarify my beliefs, and sitting in the complete beginning of it. So looking at it feels, I always say, the Mount Everest of goals. It's that huge goal, and it doesn't matter where you're sitting. It's just that big dream. It points you towards your true north. So that big picture goal. Then in addition, you want to backtrack from there and create some smaller steps. How would you get there? What are the more immediate goals? So if you are sitting in a place where perhaps you have a calling to leave a current job and start a business out of your hobby, let's just use that as an example. Then your smaller goals are to how to build the bridge from where you are to being financially independent, to being your own boss, that might even be like starting to identify, what is your hobby? What are you going to turn into a business? And if you're not a business person, like I was not a business person, it might involve taking some classes in business or connecting with your local small business development department to get some counseling help on different types of business skills. Or if you're good in business and you're feeling this creative calling and you're not sure how to express it or what that looks like, it might be going the other route and seeking some guidance in the creative sector to begin to draw out your creativity to see what your natural inherent gifts are and how you want to express yourself in the most authentic way. So create a simple and easy to say affirmation that reflects those in the present tense. So this is where you take your core values, your intention, your purpose, your mission, and your goals, and you play with the words and structure and restructure them until you can put them together in a simple, easy to say statement that you are able to remember and say often. You want to say it in the present tense. It may feel like a stretch. It might currently feel unbelievable, yet it can't be so unbelievable that it throws you out of congruency when you're saying it. So if you, for instance, have a lack mindset, or you're operating from a poverty consciousness, or you have a value set point with money that is low, for instance, let's just say you think that $10,000 is a lot of money and you want to make $300,000 a year. If you find yourself unable to say that and it throws you out of congruency to say that, then you might want to find a middle range where you can ramp yourself up and begin to grow your set point to where you can begin to speak those numbers in a way that increases your value and your ability to believe that it's possible that you can achieve what you're seeking. So it needs to be a stretch, but you don't want it to be so much of a stretch that you find yourself not saying it or feeling like you're lying to yourself every time you do it. Or every time you say it, you think you're also having a side thought thinking, that's impossible, I can't do that. That's not helpful. What is helpful is to find something that you can do that takes you further than where you are, but is that next step that is before you. So you'll want to say it when you're waking up and before going to sleep to embed it into your subconscious mind. You want to say it as much as you can. I suggest before you go to sleep, repeating it over and over until you fall asleep. And then the first thing in the morning when you wake up, recalling it, because these are potent times for reprogramming the mind. But anytime through the day, it's good to say it. And if there's other times in the day where you find a limiting belief coming up, or you're taking action that is not the action you want to be taking, then once again, you stop, you pull back, and you speak this affirmation, and then take action that is in alignment with that. You also want to consciously connect and imagine that you're in full expression of that affirmation. So what I mean by that is it's more than just visualizing. So visualizing is an important component. Some people are good at visualizing, others are good at feeling, some are good at both. It's important to embody all of the senses, but you want to come into a place where whatever it is that you are creating, wanting to create, where you're attempting to get to, you want to imagine, sense, feel with all of your senses as though you have come into the full expression of whatever that is. And you practice speaking your affirmation from that place. That gives it more potency and power. So the insight number 2 is to harness the power of imagination to manifest your goals and desires effectively. So continuing on the thread of imagination, I'm going to share with you a short story. I used to play basketball in high school. This is many moons ago, but it's still nevertheless a valid, potent story. So this is a long time ago, and this is before visualization tactics or visualization techniques were popular. My high school basketball coach worked with someone who came in, and for several of our practices, we would spend time visualizing all of the elements of the game, from free throws to defense aspects of the game to victory, just all the different components. We would visualize ourselves going through the motions. We would feel the sensations of it. We would imagine it. And there was many descriptions with it. Visualizing the ball going through the net, hearing the sound of the ball moving through the net, the sound of the ball once it went through the net, falling down and coming onto the gym floor, the sound of the crowd cheering after having won the game, the feeling of, giving our teammates high fives for, a good game having been played, so on and so forth. So we did this throughout the season, and we ended up being his first team that won his first state championship. And it started a run of all of the teams achieving state championships at that point, and some of them even going to national championships. So this is just an example of the power of visualization. And I know now visualization and using our imagination and giving all of our senses into it is a more common practice. This I want to share though, so that you can allow yourself to really think and feel into what it is that you want to create. And anything that is rubbing against it, you'll want to start to dismantle that. So any doubts, fears, limiting beliefs, any obstacles, anything that's in the way, if there are obstacles, you'll need to imagine the detour. What does the obstacle look like? What is it made of? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? Does it have a sound, a texture? How big is it? What color is it? What is it made of? And then in the imagination visualization practice, you want to really sense that obstacle and begin to see, how are you going to work around it? Obstacles are meant to be worked through and moved around. A hard stop is to go another, like a stop sign is to go another way. It's don't proceed. But an obstacle is like a yellow light. It means slow down, possibly stop. There might be a detour or a reroute. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're on the wrong path. It just means some adjustments need to be made. And you want to look through, is the adjustment a belief? Is it an action? Is it an emotion? Is it your intention? Is it a desire? What is it that needs to be clarified, and what is needed in order for you to navigate around, through, over, beneath, or to completely dissolve and dismantle that obstacle? So why is this important to you? So visualization helps to align thoughts, emotions, and actions with the desired outcomes. By harnessing the power of visualization, you can effectively manifest goals and desires, leading to greater clarity, focus, and success in achieving your dreams. It's that simple. I think that I have probably made it pretty clear here at this point, the power of visualization. So how to take action. Dedicate time to get into the accomplished feeling. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You just have to take some time. You also don't necessarily have to have it be designated time. It is helpful to set some meditation time aside and to focus on what it is that you're imagining and visualizing. However, you could do it while you're walking, while you're grocery shopping, if you're able to divert your attention in that way. Then you can pull it up at any time you want, anytime it comes up. However, it's more helpful if you can dedicate a few moments to really getting into the feeling and allowing yourself to feel with all your senses that desired outcome. You also want to create a clear mental image of the achievement. So even if you don't have a strong visualization capacity, it could be in thinking. You want to think through, visualize through, feel through whatever is your strong sense. It could be vocalizing. You want to put all of that in to come up with as clear as a message as you can and engage all the senses. That simple. So insight number 3 is to cultivate an abundance mindset. So an abundance mindset is infinite possibilities as opposed to finite possibilities. It's limitless thinking as opposed to limited thinking. This can be tricky. It's easy to get caught in there are no options, there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough resources, all that kind of holds us down into lack and scarcity and blocks and hard stops. So this is where it's important to be really aware of your thoughts and your actions to see, are you taking actions that are reinforcing limited beliefs, limited possibilities? Are you thinking that there's more than enough, or are you thinking from a place of there's not enough? Are you focused on the problem, or are you focused on a solution? Now, it's important to identify and understand the problem clearly, because a problem to be solved requires an understanding of the problem. We can have a vague understanding of the problem, and that doesn't necessarily help to solve the problem. However, when we're able to go deeper into understanding all the different components of the problem, kind of the way that I described the obstacle, break it down, spend some time going deep into the problem. And once you understand all the different facets of a problem, then pull yourself out of the problem and start to align with solutions. What does the solution to that specific problem look like? Also, gratitude. I would also add here reverence, respect, being in balance. So whether it be taking too much and not giving, whether it be giving too much and not allowing yourself to receive, you want to be in a place of gratitude, being grateful for who you are, what you have, what you experience, even being grateful for the challenges you've had in your life, especially for the challenges and the struggles and the pain that you've had in your life, because they've been lessons that have brought you to where you are. They've taught you, they've probably guided you into whatever is calling you to begin to step into this next journey of your life. Also, being open and willing to learn. So, being open to learn is one thing, but you got to be willing to learn. You also have to recognize and be able to discern when you're not open to learn. Many of us want to say, yes, I'm open to learn. Yes, I'm open to feedback. Yes, I'm totally willing to learn. However, when it comes down to it, we're throwing up resistance with every breath, right? So it's a matter of wisdom, knowing yourself to be able to recognize, I'm actually not open to learn right now. So I'm going to withhold going forward on this until I can get myself into a place where I'm truly receptive and open to learn. I'm listening, I'm asking questions, and allowing myself to hear the messages that are coming through and to understand the deeper perspective. And sometimes that requires patience. So with that is the asking questions and the listening. So those are the basics with that. And those different components help get us into an abundance mindset. Yep, that's in the next one. So why is this important to you? So the mindset shift is essential for unlocking full potential and creating a life of abundance in all areas of life. So many people are living with poverty mindset, lack, and shifting this within ourselves helps shift it for the collective. So I feel this is truly important because many of us, our worth and value are tied up into our things that are outside of us. We don't have an inherent healthy sense of worth and value. And we are operating from poverty, lack, scarcity mindset, competitive mindsets. These are old, outdated mindsets that are no longer useful. So when each of us does the work to shift our mindset into an abundance mindset and practice is beginning to look out into the world from an authentic mindset of abundance, we then empower other people to do the same. So it's not just about us having abundance. It's about doing it so that we can be a light for others, so that we can be an inspiration for others to get out of their struggle with that poverty lack mindset. So how to take action? Simple. Keep a gratitude journal. Every day, recognize what you're grateful for before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning. I find it very helpful when I wake up in the morning to just be grateful for being alive, for having woken up in the morning. I get to see the skyscape when I wake up, and I love waking up in the morning and seeing the morning light. It's simple, yet I'm grateful for it. Also, I have a cat that I'm grateful for, and he does not sleep with me at night because he's wild and likes to eat my toes off, which is not helpful. So he stays outside of the room, and in the morning he will come meowing at the door and want to come in, and he's full of love and snuggles. So I love opening the door and letting him in and taking in the morning light and being in gratitude and just spending a few moments to cuddle with the kitty. It's a simple way for me to set my day with gratitude. Also, this is very easy too, and it doesn't require any effort, but look around you and notice the abundance. I'm pretty sure that most everyone watching this has probably an abundance or an overabundance of at least things within your space. And if you don't, if you're a minimalist or you truly are in an environment that is simple, then look outside because there's abundance everywhere. There's an abundance of nature. There is an abundance of everything all over. We are in an environment of abundance. So it's helpful to just use and work with what is around you. Also, create a prosperous vision. So when you're working on your goals, go and craft the vision of one that is prosperous, whatever prosperity looks like for you. Perhaps spend some time to think about, ask some questions, and do some deep inner work to come into an understanding of what it looks like to feel prosperous. It doesn't necessarily have to be about money. It could. However, this is for you to come into what your definition of prosperity looks like. And when you are crafting your goal, your vision, your big dream, make it be one that embodies an abundance mindset with a prosperity vision. Also, and this is challenging sometimes, expand your dreams. Sometimes even our big dreams, they might feel daunting and overwhelming, but they're still limited. If we're coming from a limiting belief, if we have limiting mindsets, then it may well be possible that even our big dream is limiting. I'll use an example here with the fire dancing. I didn't even know that existed, as I already explained. So then when I did know it was existed, I didn't realize it was something that I could support myself doing. I did not even believe it was possible or even cross my mind that I could make a career out of being a fire performer. So I went around having odd jobs that I was miserable having while I was just so focused on creating fire shows and booking fire shows and finding places for these shows to happen. And so I eventually then started getting requests to perform where people were asking how much does it cost to have you perform? And I had to get over some money issues there about worth and value and putting a value to my hobby. So with that though, it did spark this possibility of I had what felt like this big dream about doing it. I can teach classes, I can create this group and this community, and we can perform these shows, and this is what it would look like. And to me at the time, that was the biggest, most expansive, wildest dream I could have. And it seemed so far from where I was, but I became determined to create that reality. And I got so focused on building that reality, I got so lost in the work of creating that vision that one day I found myself on a stage in Japan performing in front of people 15 years later. And I had this moment on stage looking out at the audience where I thought I had this, it was a flash of a moment that seemed like it lasted for an eternity, where I remembered my big dream. And I realized that I had overshot that big dream so far. I had come to a place that I did not even know was possible. I had lived beyond my wildest dreams. And that brought me to this vast unknown place of like, wow, what now? I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't think I could get there. And then I got lost in the process and found myself in a space where I was so far past what I even imagined possible. I was challenged to expand my dream way beyond where I had come. And so I share this with you because limiting beliefs, limiting dreams, you want to create a big dream, right? You want to also understand and work to expand that dream to an even bigger possibility, because you may find yourself going beyond what you think is possible. And then what? Right? So practice also reverence. It's important to stay in a space of reverence and respect. So coming from a place of humility, also speaking about the fire dancing, once I realized that I was living beyond my wildest dreams, there was also a part of me that felt very, I don't know if special is the word, but I felt I was very grateful for my life and for where I was, but I allowed that to, we'll just say, go to my head a little bit. It could be ego. I allowed it to blow up my ego. I allowed myself to feel very big and expanded, important. And so when I was in that place of, wow, I'm living like the best life, right? And I had lost touch with the ground. I went so far past. I call it my Icarus moment. I used to say an example was, Icarus flew to the sun and his wax wings melted and crashed to the earth, right? And so my saying was, well, my wings are made of metal, so I can fly through the sun. And then there was that rubber band snap back to reality of a point where I had become attached, dependent, reliable. I had stopped creatively visioning. When I realized that I was living beyond my wildest dreams, rather than expanding the dream, I allowed myself to become complacent in the dream. I was going to try to hold on to it and keep it the way that it was. I couldn't see anywhere past where I was going. I felt like I had hit the ceiling, right? I couldn't go any further. And so I ended up crashing back to earth, back to reality from there. And in that was a new dream, a new vision that began to unfold. But it required me having to come into reverence and respect and a place of humility. It began. So I suggest that you create, as you're working on your new vision, a practice of reverence, so that you're building this message, this vision, from a place of reverence, so that you don't lose connection with that reverent place within you, that place of gratitude, that place of humility, that place of humbleness, so that you can go to that big, expanded, prosperous vision without it becoming something that takes you out of touch with your reality. Also, live sustainably. So this one is important because it's easy when we begin to become limitless, expanded, to craft our messages clearly and have more impact, for our egos to get more filled up, for us to start to live unsustainably, right? Living limitlessly does not mean living unsustainably, right? So you want to create a sustainable life, right? You want to create a sustainable business. You want to create a sustainable practice, something that is going to sustain over time and be in balance, reverence, and respect with all of life, right? Okay. So that is how to take action on insight number 3. So just to recap, I explained in insight 1 gave you some examples of how to craft a powerful affirmation in alignment with your core values. In insight 2, how to imagine and feel the outcome. And insight number 3, some guidelines around expanding the vision. So the question is, what action leads to your dream outcome? So what is your story going to be? What are you coming from? What are you going to? And how many days and months are you creating that? Okay. Thank you for being with me in this webinar. So if you do feel called, I do have what I call an illumination journey. They go from the new moon to the full moon. It's an oracle journey. It's virtual. It's low participation. And it's a way for you to get into alignment in a fun, playful, magical way, working with oracle intuition to begin to craft your message, to begin to identify your mission and your purpose, and to track forward in that way. So if you're struggling to craft your message, if you're struggling to identify what is your purpose, to get clear, then an illumination journey is a good way to attune with the moon, get into alignment, and begin to put some words to what is likely brewing within you already. I like to do it in multiple ways. There's the thinking about it, the intuition. I also like working with the oracle to do it. So in the illumination journey, the way that it works is you sign up for the illumination journey near a new moon, and then I send you a reading on the new moon. Halfway between the new moon and the full moon, you get a bridge reading, and then at the full moon, you get a full moon activation reading. This particular journey that is beginning now at this new moon is the Dance of the Wood Dragon, because we're activating the year of the Wood Dragon. So it's just a fun, playful way to create some, fun tools, some fun ways to begin to come into alignment. That is this webinar, and I hope that you found some of the suggestions and tools helpful. And I encourage you to go forward and to use some of those tools to begin to work on your message, to come into greater alignment, and to begin to craft your message and put it together in a way that has more simplicity. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to join the illumination journey, you can also just go to my website, luminouslifejourney.com. And there's a services page, and you'll see on there, you'll go to where there's programs or journeys, and there's one on there that says Illumination Journey, and you can request to join an illumination journey. You can join them at any time. I just suggest it doesn't have to be near a new moon, and if you request it and it's outside of the new moon, I'll just set you up for the next new moon. So if you're not really sure when that is, then that's okay, because I'll help support you in getting you aligned with the moon phases. So anyways, thank you so much for watching and for tuning in and being present with me here today. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you. Take care.